one. And I am traveling, as usual, to New York. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, ripped down 2 shows. Shout out to Mapleton, Georgia. Really Atlanta. And so we're on our way now back to New York and to finish up what's going on there. Those that know, you know that we're planning a 3-day, what is called the Hip Hop 50 Years Block Festival. And obviously, you know, this is the Temple of Hip Hop's production in conjunction with the city of New York, the borough of the Bronx, and I'm thinking of all the companies that are that I'm bringing in to this project, the Lisa Project, which is an arts, art, graffiti writing, classical art kind of organization. They do outdoor murals and stuff. You might have seen the mural they did of me on 2nd Avenue. That's when I became familiar with the Lisa Project. So they're coming forward, as we said, the radio station 94.7. Our friend Skip over there, his name is Skip, over there, lead sponsor, going to get the word out. We're going to do a 30-day hardcore promotion. So get the word out. Get the word out. If you're listening to me now, you know, we don't have corporate backing and all that. Actually, we do, but not in the sense that, you know, where money's being poured in on us. That's not happening. Yes, there are some sponsors that are paying for stuff here, there. We need porta potties outside. Porta potties are expensive. I didn't realize that. We have a stage, obviously. The stage is costing money. Security is costing. Flyers, you know, all types of advertisement as well as costing. So again, Temple members, you know, now's the time for you to donate if you can, put something forward, even just be up on your membership dues. The membership dues alone help us to do a lot. We used a lot of the membership dues to pay for artists, graffiti writers to create the canvases that we need for the Temple of Hip Hop and for 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. Let me get into both of those before we start. Like I said, it's the Hip Hop 50 Years Block Festival. So we start on Monday. What am I talking about? Not Monday. We start on Thursday, which is August 10th, 2023. And so August 10th, obviously we're preparing for the 12th. Our date is the 12th. Hip Hop's actual birthday is the 11th. We're on the 10th at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx at about 11 o'clock at night to about 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're having a late night vigil, a 12 o'clock vigil to go into, we're bringing in the hip hop's actual birthday. We're bringing in hip hop's actual birthday. But what I'm thinking about is this. I'm trying to run it down without having paper, and I have all the thoughts in my head. So let me just chop this down real quick. The 10th from 11 to 1 o'clock, we're gonna bring in hip hop's actual birthday in prayer and meditation. Actually, prayer and affirmation. We want to declare what the future is going to be for hip hop. Sure, we're looking at the past 50 years, but at the beginning of this day, as we bring the day in, we want to project another 50 years. Yes, from a past point of view, we want to thank hip hop for all that it has done for us and acknowledge hip hop as a force, as a movement, as a idea, collective consciousness that helped us. So we want to acknowledge that in prayer and affirmation on the 10th. several artists are saying they want to come through and be part of that vigil as well. Shout out to MC Light and others that want to come through and be part of that spiritual part. Keep in mind that we have a 3-day session. This will be a 4th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, because everybody can't make the 12th or the 11th or the 13th. So we're having a 4-day situation so that everybody can participate if you want to. So there's the 10th. We're at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, the birthplace of hip hop, 11 o'clock. We're in the community center, the birthed hip hop, where Kool DJ Herc started. We're there affirming and praying and thanking hip hop for all that it has done for us. Then the next day, August 11th, 2023, hip hop's actual birthday, we may put a cake out. We will put a cake out and other festivities. We're still at the 1520 Sedgwick Avenue Community Center. But now on August 11th, we're having our own smaller private party. We're having a smaller private party right there at 1520, the Community Center. We're playing music, we're spitting rhymes, we're breaking, and we're finishing the mural. There's a mural already at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue as well. We're gonna redo the mural itself for the 50th anniversary. We're gonna redo it. So we're gonna finish the mural on August 11th. You know, graffiti writers, you start a few days early, especially if it's an intricate piece. And we're doing the side of buildings as well. So this work is gonna start, really like next week, 2 weeks from now, we're gonna start this work. So by the time we get up to August 11th, we'll be putting the finishing touches on a graffiti piece at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the foyer area there, just outside of the actual community center. So we're also on August 11th having a podcast, roundtable discussion. Scholars are coming through to discuss hip hop's 50th anniversary. Yes, I'll be rocking the mic. Hakeem Green of Channel Live will be rocking the mic, and others. I heard that T.I. wanted to come through. I heard that Freeway also wanted to come through as well on the 11th. These are also artists that can't make it for the 12th or the 13th. So everyone's spitting in. Get in where you can fit in. And also it's an education. If you hip hop and you've never been to the birthplace of hip hop, this is your opportunity right now. So that's the 11th, okay? Now simultaneously, while we're doing our thing in the Bronx, we're also doing our thing at the Temple of Hip Hop in Newark, New Jersey. So on the 11th, we're gonna have yet another whole program going on at the Temple of Hip Hop for the residents of Newark, New Jersey, and anybody else that wants to come through. Again, breaking, MCing, graffiti writing, DJing, beatboxing, street fashion, language, knowledge, entrepreneurial skills. All of that will be presented at the Temple of Hip Hop in some shape or fashion there. And we're confirming our speakers and artists and others now, right now. We're confirming that. So that's out in Newark, New Jersey, Temple of Hip Hop. That's on August 11th. Now I'm gonna be between two places. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna do my thing on August 11th at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, probably in the daytime, afternoon. We want to put a little barbecue out, afternoon kind of deal on August 11th. For 1520, invite everybody over there. And we eat and play music and do it exactly the way we did it back in the day. So just do it just like that. I may even charge 25 cents for ladies and 50 cents for guys. But anyway, we're gonna bring it back. That's the point of ritual, the point of tradition, to relive your past, to make your culture real. Make your culture real. Respect it, honor it, acknowledge it. This is what makes culture real. So the Temple of Hip Hop has been doing that work. And you know that. So that's August 11th, 2023. The Temple of Hip Hop in Newark, New Jersey is celebrating and acknowledging hip hop with a list of festivities on August 11th, which we're organizing now. And at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, we're there as well on August 11th, and with a list of programming there as well. So I'll be between both places and so on. Probably 1520 in the day, Temple of Hip Hop at night or toward the evening. Then you have August 12th, the day that we are putting on the official, let me say official hip hop anniversary celebration. Yes, there has been many celebrations of hip, not many, but a lot. Everybody slapping 50th anniversary on their deal. All types of stuff is supposed to be happening. I just heard that I think the city's gonna light up the Empire State Building in honor of hip hop. Others are throwing all types of concerts out here. Most of them are for pay though. There are others though, most of are for ticket prices, but there are others that are free, and that's the ones that the Temple of Hip Hop is involved in that way. And I say Temple of Hip Hop. KRS-One as performing artists, I've been involved in all of them. The ones for pay, the ones for free, whatever. You know my style with it. I work as the teacher, as the Temple of Hip Hop, and that's what we're doing. But I also have friends. I also have promoter contacts. We have all types of people that ask us, please come out and do this for us. Some people are charging ticket prices and just asking me to come and be part. And I come in and I just be part. I don't get paid or anything like that, but it was a favor for a friend, or it was an artist that wanted me to join them on their set, or, this kind of thing. So in some instances, like, where I'm contracted, yes, we go and we get our money. But for most of these 50th anniversaries, as far as KRS is concerned, my principles is that we should be working for free. Even if you got, I understand the bag, and that. But in addition to that you getting money has no bearing on just doing things for free. As a matter of fact, if you got money, why can't you do something for free? I could see somebody who said, look, Chris, it's the first of the month, G, I gotta go get this money, okay? That's understandable and legitimate, okay? Let's keep it real with that. But after you get the bag, aren't you satisfied? Have you not gotten your money now? So now here comes the culture that has given you the ability to get that money. You can't do nothing for free. You can't just come to the table. And this is going to begin our lesson today too. This is going to begin our lesson today about the character of a free person, the character of a wealthy person. You could have $1 million in your pocket. $1 million. You can't even put $1 million in your pocket. But if you could somehow stuff $1 million in all four of your pockets, okay, and then you see somebody on the corner with a sign that says, look, I'm hungry and homeless, and you can't give them nothing, and you got $1 million, and you can't give them nothing, you're poor. You're poor. At that particular moment, you're poor. You're in poverty. And it's not that you're in poverty, it's a poverty consciousness. Because if you have $10 in your pocket, say 10 singles in your pocket, somebody run up on somebody holding the sign, I'm hungry and I'm homeless and I'm out. You pull off $2 out your 10, reduce yourself to $8, take $2, you give it to the person. You're wealthy at that moment. Hoarding money does not make you rich or wealthy. Hoarding money does not make you wealthy or rich. Giving money or spending money, that determines how rich you are. That determines how wealthy you are. And it starts as a mentality, not really resources. Let's say you have no money at all. You have a sandwich. You have a hero sandwich. Something from Jersey Mike's or Firehouse Subs, or, somewhere. Okay, you have a sandwich. Nice little sub sandwich, but no money. Somebody standing there with the sign, I'm hungry, I'm homeless, I'm out, I need some help. If you slice that sandwich in half or even a quarter of it and hand to that person, say, look, go ahead and eat this, you're rich. For that particular moment, you're the wealthy one in the relationship. And the more you practice that kind of giving, that kind of charity, the more wealthy you become. Look at the science of it. Wealth is about what you can give away, not what you can hoard. So if you can give anything away, you're wealthy. Charity makes you wealthy. Do you understand that? Giving makes you rich because you're the giver. So even if you have little money, no money, whatever it is, whatever you have, if you give it, you're the rich one for that day. Think about it. If everyone's sad in a room and you tell a joke, it makes everyone laugh. You're the wealthy one in the room. You've imparted something that lifted everybody up that they didn't have before. You gave them something. The same thing has to do with knowledge. Right now, I'm giving this talk right now for free. This is just us. So we've been talking like this for the last couple of years. This is us. But this also proves my wealth. I have the time to sit here and do this right now. I have the wherewithal to give of myself in this way. Take it as an example that right now I'm being wealthy, not I'm rich, I am wealthy. No, I'm being rich, I'm being wealthy, which doesn't require money. The being doesn't require anything outside of itself, but the being has to be confirmed. That's the money of being. The currency of being is your confirmation of your being. And guess what? Skills and principles, these define your being. Even more than skills, principles. Principles define your being, or helps you to acknowledge it. How do you judge your being, or what being you're from, or if your being is going in the right direction? Put it up against the timeless principles: love, mercy, forgiveness, reconciliation, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. These things. I can go on and on. I mean, come on, the principles of life, most of which are found in the Hip Hop the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. No, what I was going to say was the divine performance found in the Gospel of Hip Hop. Here, Gospel of Hip Hop. I had marked my thing, and now I just took it. I took it out. I had a lesson planned. And now I got to go back and find it now because I just took my book out of it. So I'll get back to that. Anyway, so what I'm saying here, first part of it, is just in terms of your own being and your own character, okay? How do you become wealthy? How do you really become rich? How do you really live a comfortable life financially? You develop a habit of giving. That seems so crazy. You say, Chris, how can you get rich giving all your money away? Because blessings come through you, not to you. Again, all of this has to do with living a spiritual life, the hip hop spiritual life. That's what we're talking about. So if you're not walking that path, this ain't for you. But if you're walking a spiritual path, and specifically the hip hop spiritual path, then all of this works for you. This is your path. This is how it actually happens and goes down for you. So pay close attention. Pay close attention. Let's talk about being and character for a minute, because this is the lesson that we're talking about. And it's going to get deep. Here's the lesson. The lesson is that we all say that we're spiritual. Everyone wants to be spiritual from their own perspective, and that's why nobody's really spiritual. And when I say nobody's really spiritual, meaning look at the character. You know, it's not for me to say whether you are a spiritual being or not. It's for you to say that. But if you can't back up what you're saying with a real character, a real being that backs up what you believe about yourself, then you playing games with yourself. If your spirituality does not work for you, then you have to question that spirituality. You got to question that. If you still, sickness, hatred, ignorance, poverty, depression, anger, jealousy, fear, doubt, guilt, all of that, how could you be spiritual? Now, I don't know how many people are going to tell you this, but this is why I'm here right now, to get in your face and tell you this right now. I don't care what book you reading. You hating people, you ain't spiritual. I don't care what church, mosque, synagogue, temple you go to. You still fearful, doubtful, guilty, selfish, jealous. What church you go? What is the church of the devil? Where are you going? No, you got to take your spirituality seriously. And I mean seriously. So serious that you're willing to cut your sandwich in half to give to someone else. You're willing to suffer for the good of others. Isn't that the motif of the Christ? That's the center motif of the Christ. At least as far as the story is concerned in the Bible. Christian theology, self-sacrifice. G. Simone reminds us of the cross. The cross, C-R-O-S-S, constant reminder of self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice. Can you sacrifice yourself? God always sacrifices his, her, their selves. God always, because God knows it's not really a sacrifice. I'm actually moving with the universe. And what's actually happening is it's not even me really doing anything. It's all God, really. So when you get to that realization that it's really all God, it's easier to deal with people. It's easier to take losses and setbacks and disappointments when you know you're working for God. If you're working for yourself, people are going to hurt you. People are going to disappoint you. They're going to betray you. They're going to go through this and that. And that's how people do. That's how humans act, okay? But when you are a God, okay, and you walk with the gods, you're not working for yourself. It's easy for you to give up your peace for the sake of others. It's easy for you. See, I'll give you another example here. The hip-hop ministry is not a ministry of the mountains or of the forest or of the desert or of the sea. The hip-hop ministry is in the hood. The hip-hop ministry is in urban areas, in the streets, in the cities of the world. This is the spirituality we have to come to. We weren't developed in mountains and forests and these way out areas. We were not developed like that. We were developed on street corners, prisons, schools, and so on. This is what and how we were developed. So our spiritual ministry is not about going in a cave somewhere and meditating for 3 and 4 and 5, 6 days. No, our spirituality is about, first, are you working for God or are you working for yourself? Number one, are you living with God or are you only living with yourself? If you're only living with yourself and for yourself, then you can't give up nothing. You can't part with nothing. You can't, because it's all for you. You have to take care of yourself. You have to make sure you've eaten, make sure you've showered, make sure you have this and that. You have to, because it's only you. So there's no criticism here. Look at the math of it. The math of it is, if you only working for yourself, you better get with yourself. You better get with what you need to survive. You have to, the gospel of hip hop talks about being a selfist. Not selfish, but a selfist. You're concerned only with yourself. To this moment at least. But this, you have to break down and tend to yourself. But just above this, the selfist philosophy or concept is the selfless concept. If you don't have a self, you don't have a problem. And of course we have a self, source, energy, life force. Of course we have that. But when your self only has itself, then that source, energy, life force can be depleted. It has no source to go to. It is the source of itself. So when it depletes, it's over. So you can't be so giving. You can't be so charitable, so forgiving and open. No, you have to play the game that you've set for yourself. Now, those that are children of God, those that are the servants and secretaries, the workers of God, the family of gods, those that belong to that family, it's easy for us to give up our riches, our all of it, even at times our health. We go into areas that are mentally and physically unhealthy for us. And we know they are unhealthy, but we're doing God's work. So we go into the unhealthy situation. We may even come out sick. We may even come out broken. We may be scraped. We may be this, but guess what? It ain't about you. It's about God and the family of gods that are working on behalf of the universe, have brought their minds, have brought their being, I can't even say mind, brought your being to the universe itself, to the world, not the world, the earth itself. You brought your being, you match the earth. And when you match the earth, you become an immortal. The earth is immortal. So why wouldn't you be a natural human being? Think about that. The more you get to nature, the more you get to immortality. Because nature is immortal. So those that are not natural human beings or natural period, or even lean toward nature, revere nature, respect for nature, these people die and they don't come back. Think about that for me. If you're into reincarnation, most people say, oh, you only get one life and that's it. You better make the best of it. You just created a law for yourself and you will live that law because you made it for yourself. But if you're part of a family of infinity, your family is immortal. Who's your family? The earth and the sky. That's our family. When you unite with your family, earth and sky, you become immortal because you match immortality. The best way to become immortal is to match immortality. The best way to become mortal is to match mortality. So look at this. Your being is going to determine your existence. You can live forever, forever, if you just believe you can. Think about that. These concepts I know may be going over some people's head. Like, how could you just think and grow rich? That's the name of a book, too. I think it's Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich. People laughed at him when he said it. He got rich, though. So this is the part of the beginning of what our lesson is about today. About what kind of being are you? What kind of being are you? Are you a giving being? Are you wealthy for real? Do you have a wealthy mentality? Do you have a healthy mentality? Are you willing to give up your peace and your prosperity for others who don't even care about you, don't even understand how you got your peace or prosperity? Are you willing to give that up for the sake of them, in hopes that they gain something? It's like, I don't do the strip club, me, KRS-One. I don't, it's not entertainment for me watching naked women dance or sitting on your lap and stuff like that. I don't get into that. I don't know what that is. I mean, of course, and if you are into that, I'm not judging or anything to that extent. There are strip clubs all over the world, okay, and ancient. Women dancing naked in front of men is ancient. Okay, we ain't just come up with that today. That's ancient, but it's not me. This is the issue. It's not me. Now, if it's not me, fine, it's not you. But as a teacher, how are you supposed to teach those people? And why do you want to teach them? Because you know that the end of that path is pain and suffering for the person. If you're in a strip club, okay, watching these women and so on, you're probably a young kid. You got to be young. If you're an older man doing this, there's something wrong in your life, I would say. There's something wrong. Something's happening in your life. You're being deprived of this activity somehow. And so you go to the strip club, or this is what relaxes you, or this is what, makes you feel like something, or so on. But a person like me who's not into that and can see, because I've already seen in the 80s when everybody did all of that, we saw in the 90s what happened to that. So here we are in 2000 and we see people doing the same thing. We know in another 10, 20 years what's going to happen to them. And not just bad stuff happening, but revelations. You become embarrassed. You did some craziness back in the day, and now you grow up, gain wisdom, and say, like, why did I do that? We all go through it. So the teacher comes. And if, in fact, I'm not willing to walk into the strip club, how are these hoes, okay, how they supposed to know what God is, or what spirituality is, or what philosophy is, or theology, mythology, something other than the material world? How are they supposed to know that if those that know that don't go into toxic environments to teach it? This is a hip-hop ministry where you're not afraid to go into the strip club. You're not afraid to go into the crack house, or today the trap house. You're not afraid to go into areas that could be harmful to you or could deprive you of your peace and your prosperity. It could deplete your funds. It could take away your peace, your comfort, your sense of security, all of that. But if you're working for God, see, this is the issue. If you're working for God, then by your own being and conviction, it's all going to work out. Because God is all. This is the philosophy of all. The all, the omni. God is all. When you're rolling with the consciousness of the all, then everything works out. Matter of fact, you don't even see problems. All you see is the forward movement. And this had to happen, that had to happen, this had to happen for the forward movement to happen. And believe me, those that walk this path, you get to your goal. See, that's what I'm trying to show you. Even as KRS-One, okay, as the teacher, okay, you get to your goal. Okay, people tried to take everything from me. Let's start with Criminal Minded. Okay, and people ripping me off, cheating me for my stuff, you know, all types of craziness. But I wasn't doing these albums for me. I was doing these albums for God, for hip hop's preservation. From the time I started, go back, listen to Criminal Minded. I said, I am a teacher and others are kings. Okay, this has been my mantra the whole time. I'm coming in as a teacher of the lost, a teacher, a giver of the law, the teacher of the Dharma, as they say, the Buddha, as they say. That's what I came to do. And it's not no bragging, because anybody who studies spirituality, you know it's a tough life. It's a tough life. It's not something to brag about. It's something to endure. It's something to go through. It's something that you gain. It's an achievement of being. So there's no bragging here. There's no I'm above and you below and I'm holy and you're not. It ain't about none of that. When you really walk in the path, you realize how messed up you are. And you say, nah, you know what? I can't judge nobody else till I fix myself. I can't have a criticism on what other people are doing until I criticize myself and clean myself up. That is hip-hop spirituality. In fact, that sounds like just regular Christian talk. To be honest with you, judge not, lest ye may be judged, for the judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. Go into before you take the splinter, before you take the splinter out of your brother's eye, take the log out of your own eye. These simple little lessons is what leads you on the path of light. MC Light leads you on the path, and leads you on the path of MC Light, because she is very successful after 35 some odd years. You see her there at the Grammys, you see her there at BET. She's all in that world, in that sense. A tough world to navigate too, by the way, for a spiritual woman. Tough world to navigate. But is she working for herself, or is she placed there by God? And this is what you got to see. You got to see this, because if you're working for God, there's no judgment. If you're working for God, there's no me, mine, I gotta, this thing. It's we, us, our. Okay, that's the language of the gods. So, you know, I wrote down some notes. I'm just going to run them through real quick. And I just want to bring this up to you real quick about colonialism and spirituality. The reason I bring this up in our piece is because what's the first piece? The first piece is your being. And I just gave a few examples of those whose being is immersed in spiritual life, and those whose being is immersed in the world. And the world, not even the earth, the world. The world is human activity. The earth is nature. The world is what humans do. Most people are concerned more with the world than with the earth. Hip-hop spirituality is concerned with the earth above the world. We're concerned with the world, but the world is something we enter into. The earth is what we are. So I want to talk about quickly the effects of colonialism on religion and spirituality and on your being. Most people, they don't talk like this. And you can see also there's a trend in the United States to erase history. You know, certain white folk out here, and it's white people doing this, okay? Certain white people in positions of power are denying the teaching of African American history. Not just the teaching of slavery, but the teaching of our accurate history in public schools. Now think about that for a minute. And in terms of slavery, because slavery is the big topic, it says, imagine there's a group of people, educators, and this is what they are. They are educators. These are the people who approve textbooks and all that type of stuff. They're teachers. And these are the people that are saying, we don't want to teach slavery to our children. Wow. Wow. We don't want to teach the history of that. And why don't we want to teach the history of that? Because it makes our children feel bad about themselves. So your whole race of people, not even the whole race, say half your race. No, can't even say that. A quarter, if that, and that's generous as well. Because all white people ain't into no slavery. Human beings are not into slavery. Let me just say that, okay? There's another set of animals, and that's what they are. Let's just call it what it is. There's another set of animals that can't see humanity because they're not the authors of it. Africans are the authors of humanity. If you can't deal with that, you're already on the wrong path because you're not dealing with truth. The original human beings were black people. Get over it. Some other people came in and enslaved, robbed, raped, murdered these same people. Took their resources, broke their images, punctured their art. Come on now, you know what it is. What the history is, but there's some educators that don't even want to teach it. There's educators that don't even want to teach that. And you call yourself an educator. There's people speaking spirituality and God, but don't really want to talk justice. The first thing God is justice. People want to say God is love. No, God is justice. Okay, we could go with God is love. Sure, we do. We preach that in the gospel. Okay, we have a whole section devoted to God being love. Okay, it's called the love. But that ain't the all of God. That ain't the all of spirituality. That ain't the all of a spiritual being. More than love is justice. The balance of things, the balance, the right of things. That things are right. This is God. Knowledge is God. Wisdom is God. Understanding is God. So if you don't have these, or you're not serious about these things, how could you be serious about God, really? And then the life of these people prove it. It's not about me judging or anything. Look at their lives. Look at the life of the one that's judging, or the one that don't want to teach truth, or the one that denies God, or the one that degrades and oppresses a people. How do they turn out living? How does their life turn out? And this is how we're getting duped every day. We think that colonial criminals are doing well for themselves because that's what they show us on TV. The white colonial criminal, psychopath, beating children, raping young little girls and boys. These people, you don't see. They did that at, say, 20, 30. They were running around robbing and raping people, invading people. They were part of an army that was invading defenseless communities, killing off people and taking people off for slavery. They did that when they was in their 30s. Now they reach their 50s, or they did it when they're in their 20s, and now they reach, say, their 40s. You know, let 10 years go by, let 20 years go by, and you gain more wisdom now, and you have matured now. Now you look back on that, and you say, God damn, that was wrong. Man, I don't know what was, I don't know what I was, that part we don't get to see. That's the part we don't see. And to be spiritual, you have to be able to see the invisible. Everybody know the spirit is invisible. Everything about spirit is not seen with these two eyes. It's seen with this eye. Okay? It's seen with the eye of being. Being is what we see through. So again, this colonial spirituality ain't working for nobody. And it can't work for nobody. You don't see the minister who preaches a hard word. Oh, God's gonna save you. This is what it is. The blood of Jesus. Da, 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 da. That's what you see. But then when that dude goes home or goes into his private place and is doing all type of crazy, stupid stuff that contradicts everything he just said, you don't see that. You don't see the person who postures in front of the camera like, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that and blah 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 and all of this. We're gonna do all of this. Then they go back to their room and cry. They crying. Think about this. Okay, here's a more positive side. Let me finish the negative. Okay, let me finish this side. Okay. So there's a study, I just thought about this. There's a study with the CIA, okay? And I saw, not a study, but an experience with the CIA. And I saw this on a television show. So they're interviewing a CIA agent who worked at Guantanamo Bay. And you know the atrocities that went on at Guantanamo Bay. If you don't, go look them up. This is during the Gulf War and so on. So you got CIA officers trying to get information out of people. And the point to this discussion that was being had was, does torture work? Does torture work? And in one breath, the CIA agent that was being interviewed, he said, yes, torture works. And if you start torturing or even threatening, then somebody gonna get tortured, they start divulging the truth. But the point, the officer pointed out, he said, but it does something to you. When you torturing people, you may be doing it right there. Electric shocks, waterboarding, pain, this, that, and the other. Treating people like they're not even, just horrible, okay? But when you go home that night, you're hurt. You're hurt. The older you get, the more the pain gets deeper. You know you did wrong. You know you was not supposed to do that to that person, no matter what that person was, who that person was, what they did. Okay? Don't matter what these people are doing. You did this to another human being. You heard them cry. You heard them plead and beg for their lives. They begged you to stop with tears and crying and pain, and you just kept drilling. Ah, ah, ah. That has an effect on you. When you get older, the guilt on that destroys you. The sadness, the depression. This is what the CIA officer was explaining. He said torture works, but it don't work for the torturer. Slavery. The whole concept of slavery, at least in Hollywood, is these white folk abusing black people and black people having to figure out how to get around the white racists and da 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 da. That's fantasy. In the real records of slavery, when they were beating little kids and some to death, we only see, oh, the white man beat the kid and that was it. After he beat that kid, this is, now get this, 75% of the time, did you hear the word 75%? Look at the estimate here. 75% of the time, after a young kid was beat, the person beating him lost all respect in the community, starting with his family. You didn't just beat a kid. You beat a kid, bruised him, bloodied him. Go outside and look at the kids. Okay, look at young little kids like 10-year-olds and 13-year-olds, even up to about 16, let's just say. Because that was the average age of an enslaved African, was between 8 and 16, not 20 and 30 like they show you on TV. That's a lie. The average age of a slave was between 8 years old and 18. Okay, very few slaves lived past 18 years old. Okay, so you beating these kids to death. You're raping these children. Okay? These are crimes against humanity. That's what we don't see that in Hollywood. But imagine, so after you did that, your wife comes to you and says, I don't do that again. I don't like that. I don't get it. After you did that, even if the wife was like, yes, you gave him a good thrashing, your kids, my father, I don't know, but something in me that just, I couldn't sit there and watch that. All them people, you see the pictures, right, of burned black people on wooden crosses, burnt alive, while white people are around this person, laughing, joking, taking pictures around a dead, burnt black body, okay? We have evidence of this with photos and everything. But now take a closer look at the photo. Every single one of those people that was standing around that burning black body or that hanging body from a tree, they all went to hell. All of them. The person on the tree went to heaven. That's what you got to see. This is spiritual sight. This is the sight of justice. The person you see burnt, that person is immortal. They went on into immortality. They will live forever. The people standing around them, gloating over the fact that they burnt this person up or shot them or hung them or raped them, they went to hell. You didn't see that part of the movie. Nobody talks about that part. But those with spiritual sight, we know the truth. We know the truth. See, I'm in a hotel room right now, so I can't really get into it. But real talk, at home, I got a newspaper article, and I saved it. It's so crazy to me. So it's George W. Bush Sr. George Bush, the father, George Bush. So there he is in the 90s declaring a new world order. And for 10 years, everybody was messed up. Yo, it's the new world order. Yo, the new world order. You better watch out for the new world order. Oh, man, the new world order. Okay? We went through the whole Gulf War. This dude standing on a pulpit. We're going to do it, and we're going to get it. Strong, big words. After the Gulf War, actually the war never ended, but after a series of embarrassing defeats with the United States, the Iraqi people fighting back, now we get 20 years down. A newspaper, now George Bush Sr. is dying. First, he got struck with some disease that put him in a wheelchair. Nobody saw that. No, nobody saw that. Put the dude in the wheelchair. Then, the article that I have, the thing says, the headlines on the front of the paper, I just want to die in peace. This is the headline. And they quoted him. I just want to die in peace. He looking for peace in his old years. He doesn't have none. He's running around bucking. Can't even talk, can't even move. Nobody saw that. Everybody just keeps their eye on when 20 years earlier, we're gonna kill these people. We're gonna do them in. It's gonna be shock and awe. It's gonna be this and that. 20 years later, I just want to die in peace. See, we see this. We the spiritual see this. We see this and we wonder why people don't. Well, we know why they don't, but we also look and say, man, isn't it obvious that if you running around killing, you ain't gonna have such a good life? You running around stealing, you're not gonna have such a good life. Think about that. This is the reason for righteousness. Not so that you can say you righteous, but that you can protect yourself against the ravages of life. Live a good life. Live a righteous life. Do good by people. Give of your resources. Teach those that don't know. Don't be afraid to walk into areas that may hurt you or hurt your health or take your wealth away. If you're with God, none of that can be taken away. And this is the point. So I just wanted to remind you of this and remind you that, I got some notes here, I'm looking at them now. Ancient spirituality belonged to a small group of people within an even smaller group of people. Think about this. The Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, the Torah, all of the holy books, the 5 baskets of Buddha, all of the holy books that are out, was at one time the property of a specific group, a specific family of gods. The only reason we have the Bible and all of these books in our midst today is because they were stolen from those who originally lived the life. That's why all spirituality in the United States is foreign. No spirituality was created here except for hip-hop spiritual path. That's it. That's it. Everybody else, even if you say, oh, look at the Mormons or so on, no, that's still Christianity. And Christianity is foreign. So is Judaism. So is Islam. So is Hinduism, Buddhism. All of that's foreign to the United States. These are all imported ideas. Only hip-hop is an organic United States idea. And then on top of that, it's not even an organic United States idea because it's an idea of inner cities all over the earth. So everybody all over the earth can see the idea of hip-hop and bring it into their family culture, their traditional material culture, and make something for themselves. This is a magnificent culture, magnificent movement of the spirit. This is magnificent. We need to really pay attention to how magnificent we are. Not ego, not bragging, but as a strength to our being to know the truth. These people don't get away with crimes. Here's the positive. Okay, I stayed on the negative. Here's the positive of that same thought. So you see slavery. Millions of Africans, not thousands, millions got free. They never show you that. They only show you Harriet Tubman freeing helpless Africans. No, for Harriet Tubman to free people from slavery, those people had to first be brave. They had to be more brave than Harriet Tubman. Okay, she already did the path and already has the confidence that we're going to make it through. The one who is just getting on that path just met Harriet, okay? And that person ain't no slave. That person saw a way out and took it. That person got free. But guess what? You never heard that story either. You never heard that story either because you can't get free and then go back and say, I got free. You can't get free and then tell the story as to how you got free because the enemy is still out. The same people who were snatching our children, mothers and fathers up, they're here today. They're called the police. With all due respect. I mean, I'm not dissing nobody, but this is just history and truth. So you can't even say how you really got free. So if you can't say it, then the children later on, they don't get to see how you got free. They don't see the attitude you had to have, the vision you had to have, the fearlessness that you had to express in order to get free. They don't know about your knowledge of the stars and the spiritual convictions that got you free. They don't know about that. So what they get is Hollywood. Hollywood says you was a slave, you always was a slave. And if Harriet Tubman ain't come for you, yo, it was done. They point right to Harriet. So what about all the other 4 million enslaved Africans? They never got free, right? That's what they want you to believe. But when you do history of the Seminoles and do history of Africville in Canada and do the history of Harriet Tubman for real, they don't show her shooting white people. Never do that, but she did. What do you think? You gonna free slave? She was a general in the Union Army. You're not hearing me? Harriet Tubman, a woman, black woman, was awarded the honor of general because she was so dope at what she was doing. She wasn't just freeing slaves, she was killing white folk. Okay? With other white folk with her. Okay? Other white folk gave her the gun and said, yo, go blow that dude brain out. He a colonist. Like straight up. So you can see it ain't about no race here. It's about right and wrong. And if you know the science of right and the science of wrong, then you know that wrong never lives a good life. It may look like they're winning at the beginning. It may even look like they won. But in truth, they did not. They go back to their house, their room, their private place, and they are destroyed and tormented. That's the word. They're tormented inside. So this is the lesson I'd like to leave you with. As you know, I'm on the go. I'm on my way to New York. We're planning our festival. I didn't finish with the schedule. August 10th is the vigil. August 11th, we're at 1520 Sedgwick with a roundtable discussion and several performances. August 12th, we are at Sedgwick as well. August 11th, we're also at the Temple in Newark, New Jersey. But August 12th, we're then in the Bronx at Sedgwick Avenue. We're right outside 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. We shut down the street, Sedgwick Avenue, closed Sedgwick Avenue. We're gonna put a stage in front of 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. That's why I say this is the only real official Hip Hop 50th anniversary. If you're celebrating Hip Hop's 50th anniversary, that means you're starting in 73. And if you're starting in 73, that means you're starting with Cool DJ Herc at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, August 11th, 1973. We will be at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx on August 11th, 2023. Huge stage going up. Myself, Public Enemy, or I should say Chuck D of Public Enemy, Talib Kweli of Black Star, Hakeem Green, and a whole host of other people and artists are going to be there showing up. It's a pass the mic situation. We have solid artists to perform, but we know that once the advertisement goes up, mad heads are going to want to touch that mic that day and get it off. So that's August the 12th, the Saturday, where families could come out and enjoy hip hop's actual history and anniversary. We have all the elements going, not just MCs or top selling rappers. We have breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJing, beatboxing, street fashion, street language, street knowledge, and street entrepreneurialism will be in full effect at the Hip Hop 50 Years Block Festival. Those that want to get tables, we're getting ready to organize our vending situation now. Once the advertisement goes up, we're also going to organize vending. So those that want to be part of that, just stay tuned. We'll give you a way for you to be able to get your street entrepreneurialism off if that's something you think you want to do. Same thing with grabbing the mic. I don't have much space. You know, we have like an 8-9 hour day. So those Temple members that want to grab the mic that day or break that day or be part of the graffiti art and graffiti exhibition that day, you too need to make sure you stay tuned or even send in some sort of a request to thetempleofhiphop.org. You can just go there as well. So that's the 12th. The 13th, we're back out at the Temple. The Bronx ends, and we're out at the Temple of Hip Hop, Newark, New Jersey. We're there again on the 13th. We're doing mostly speaking. There'll be performances and stuff, but mostly speaking on the 13th. We're going to discuss the 50 years of hip hop. We're honored to have attorney Benjamin Crump is going to be speaking at the Temple of Hip Hop on August 13th. It's an evening lecture. They're RSVP only in that sense. We're really just filming it, streaming it as well. So the audience will be a selected group of people there in that group RSVP. So and that's the 13th. By the way, with the 13th, the keynote speaker is attorney Benjamin Crump, and we're talking about hip hop and its role in the promotion and preservation of justice. It's hip hop and justice. What can hip hop be doing? What has hip hop done? Its road toward justice. And so we're going to talk about hip hop already coming out with songs that are critical of the police and of government. We're going to talk about that, how hip hop has been discussing justice since it began. We got Dr. James Peterson with us. We got Dr. Zizwe Mtafuta Ukweli, Professor Z, Professor Sam, Dr. Kelton as well, Michael Eric Dyson, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, or MC Dyson is there as well. Dr. Cornel West, we're calling out to him. We didn't get a confirmation yet, but we're calling out to him. And West is my man straight up and down, so I know that he's going to want to come through as well, especially if he's in town. August 13th, we will have, I'm almost certain we're going to have Dr. Cornel West. He's running for president too, by the way. And so there's him, and a whole flank of others will be there as well. All day symposium, about 6 to 8 hours of talk and knowledge and that kind of thing. So that's at the Temple, August 13th. And that concludes our celebration of hip hop's 50th anniversary on its birthday. Now we continue, the Temple of Hip Hop continues, because hip hop for us is every day. So we continue on not only after August, but going into September, October, and even into November. November is Hip Hop History Month. And so we're planning festivities for that right now. You should also know that we're going to Chicago. You've heard about the epidemic of violence in Chicago, in urban areas as well. we're going to go there and at least raise our voice and beat the peace drum. While we're there in Chicago. We're going to ask city officials to join us. We're going to put dinners together, breakfasts together, and so on. The Temple of Hip Hop is not there. This is an HHA event with the Stop the Violence movement. So it's a hip hop alliance endeavor coming as the Stop the Violence movement. So it's myself, Hakeem, Green as well, Special Ed, Corrupt is with us as well, Twista as well. We're calling out to Common from Chicago as well. So these are we're coming into Chicago. Yes, it's hip hop, but we're coming as the Hip Hop Alliance and as the Stop the Violence movement. I mention that because the Temple of Hip Hop can show up as well. I just didn't go in that direction. We got enough going on with our planning at our temple and in the Bronx. So we're just going to Chicago to raise the idea of peace up in Chicago, galvanize people, and also have KRS-One come through. And validate and empower those who are working for peace and nonviolence on the ground, okay, on the ground. Those that are every day doing the work, community organizations, ministers, and others that are on the ground doing the work. We want to go congratulate them, empower them, and validate them. So that's why we're going to Chicago and also offer solutions and listen to what's going on. So that's why we're here or there in Chicago. That's going to be on the 17th of July, July 17th and 18th. We're there 2 days as well, and that's what that is. If you're in Chicago, if you'd like to be part of that, just come through. WVON, the radio station VON. Is our sponsor station, and they're going to get the word out on VON. So either you go online and look them up, or try to tune into the radio station or something like that. But that's for Chicago. That's where the advertising and publicity is going to roll out from. So that's it, y'all. That's it. Obviously, I got more to discuss. I'll go through it later in another session. I'm probably going to stay on this theme for a minute, which is the effects of colonialism on spirituality. How people don't even want to recognize that you can't have a spirituality in a colonial society. The only way you can have a spirituality in a colonial society is if the colonized creates one. And that's it. The colonists can't create a spirituality. But that's what everybody is dealing with right now. And that's why nobody's spirituality is really working for them. If your spirituality is working, then so be it. But 90% of people, they praying to stuff that don't even work. There's no miracles happening in your life. You could interpret it as that, oh, this happened to me, so it's a miracle. Oh, Jesus is looking out for me. Moses, this one and that one. But in real life, it ain't working. And you know why it's not working too? Because most of these people in their spiritual mind, they only working for themselves. They're not working for God. They're not working for justice, for truth, for knowledge, wisdom, love, mercy, and forgiveness. They're not working for that. In fact, I'll prove it. And some people might be saying, well, come on, Chris, what you talking about? We ain't working for it, and we ain't, I always work. Let me bring you right here. Why are there and I said the word is none, okay? Why is there no prayer for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act? Now let's look at this for a minute. There's George Floyd with a racist, under the knee of a racist, okay? The whole world saw it. The response from Attorney Benjamin Crump was the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, which would at least curb some of this, violence that the police is allowed to do, by the way. This brings it in a little bit. No choke holes. Get rid of the kicking in your door, waving the 404, no knock warrants and stuff. It just would have dealt with that. Still has not been passed. Now, all types of Asian anti-violence has been passed in the government. All types of gay and this legislation has been passed in the government. All types of other, everybody can get their legislation done. But when it comes to black people and black urban Americans, the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act can't seem to get done. Now, I know the political people ain't trying to hear all that, so we know where they stand. Okay, we know where they at. But what about all these spiritual people? Where's the Hindus? Let's just start there. You love hip hop, don't you, India? India all into hip hop, except when it comes to justice for hip hop. So where's the Hindu priesthood coming out openly with a statement that says, oh no, the Hindu religion stands behind African Americans in America. We see the injustice and we're praying for you. We're praying to Brahma that this evil leaves your life. Who's saying that? Where's the Jews at? The Jews are all about the Torah. Bing! The Torah. What does the Torah mean? The law. Where's the Jews? Open statement, united. We are the Jewish community. Whoever's speaking is speaking on behalf of the Jewish community, and we're saying openly to everybody, we need to pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act from the Jewish community. We're going to pass this. In fact, the Jewish community is going to pass it on their own. We don't care if the government doesn't pass it. We as Jews are going to live like this. We think the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act is just, and we're going to do this. Who's saying that? Have you heard this? Correct me if you've heard something like this. Bring it forward. I'd like to know, because I'm not hearing it nowhere. Where's the Christian minister? Wait, come on now. Where's the Christian minister speaking up for the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act? First of all, forget the Christian minister. Where's the Vatican? Where's the Pope? The Pope's supposed to stand for justice, love, equality. Where's the Pope coming? The Pope should have came to George Floyd's, to the place where he was killed. And the Pope should have been there, saying, this is the devil. And we, as Catholics, are saying, George Floyd Justice in Policing Act must pass. Where's Islam? Where's the imam that's standing up and saying on behalf of the entire Islamic faith, we stand with the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. We think that that should be passed. But guess what? The Buddhists, Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus, none of them are praying for us. None of them are meditating and doing breath exercises on our behalf. And why is that the case? Why can't we see the Pope in the Bronx? Why can't we see the head of Islam in Brooklyn or in Chicago, really, where they're needed? If you're really a spiritual being, like God is walking with you, and you see a community clearly under injustice, why wouldn't you as a God walk into that community and say, I got you. You're protected by us, by God. We got you. Forget whether you vote and nothing happens, or your elected officials are corrupt, or the police want to shoot you as you running from them. Forget all that. Come into this house and you're protected as you are. Hip hop, we love you. What religion is saying that? Hip hop, we love you. Hip hop, we respect you. Hip hop, we're with you. What religion is saying that? I don't see them nowhere. So we got to create our own path toward God and toward divinity, because we are not without divinity. We are not without God. So let us forge our path, a hip hop path toward God. Because these other religions, they're not doing nothing. As a matter of fact, some of them are actually the cause of our pain. Some are actually the cause. That's why you can't speak on behalf of justice. You can't speak on behalf of God, because you ain't with God. See, this is what I'm saying. If you can walk past a hungry man or a hungry woman or a hungry family, and I'm not talking about dudes with clear scams. You see they scamming. You go past them people. But every once in a while, you see somebody out there really suffering. You see somebody suffering, you're going to walk past them? Now, a regular person can do that. They don't claim a spiritual path. They don't claim union with God. They don't claim no Madhi, no Christ, no Buddha, no nothing, okay? They just working every day. So you just like, okay, boom, that's you. But for those of us that claim God, those of us that claim spiritual awakening and consciousness, you still can walk past injustice, hungry people, homeless people. That's not hip hop spirituality. Now, maybe it's other people's spirituality, but for hip hop, no. We can't walk past people who are sick, hungry, without knowledge, without protection. We can't walk past that, because God does not walk past that. And so the revelation of God to our people is what helps them and what saves them. But guess what? The true God is not a colonist or an imperialist or a capitalist. God ain't none of that. So if you messing with that, even communism, socialism, all of these economic systems that we never really experienced too, by the way, all theories and philosophies, okay? God ain't with any of that. God is God, period. Like walking into a bank and walking into McDonald's. You don't compare the two. The bank is the bank and McDonald's is McDonald's. So either you're going to walk with God or you're going to walk with the devil. Take your pick. That's today's lesson, y'all. I'm KRS-One, founder and teacher of the Temple of Hip Hop. We're located at 55 Ludlow Street in Newark, New Jersey. Hallelujah. And we are there. And on top of that, we believe that hip hop is preserved by preserving hip hoppers. We began with the affirmation, I am hip hop. And then we went on to say rap is something we're doing, while hip hop is something we're living. These are our mantras. This is what created our culture. This is what will continue to keep us strong. I thank you for listening to me today. See you next week.